Hello, friends. We are back on Sendrith, Le Resur, Gurasur. He's had a couple of different surnames in the past. Gurasur, La Gurasur was his first surname back in the olden days when, Velius was the only expansion out for every EverQuest server. Or actually, I think I put that on probably right around the time Luklin came out. Because I thought it was so clever picking a French name. La Gurasur meant healer. And I was studying French in high school. I was like, oh yeah, I am Le Gurasur. And then my on P99 I'm Resur because I can res people. If you look at my XP bar here, level 20 at 99%, like I've mentioned in prior videos, the cousins are visiting, and that makes the kids stay up an extra hour to an hour and 15 minutes later. And I just don't want to sit around waiting doing nothing or playing Diablo 4 during that time. So I thought I'd grind out a little bit. I thought I was going to get to like 75%. At the end of the last video I was at 50%, but the XP is just banging. It's just banging here. I'm getting 4, 5, and even I think one time I got 6%. It wasn't actually 6%. It was like 5.1 or 5.2%, but still the XP is banging here. It's better than it was at 18, so I got up to 99% before the kids actually were ready to go to bed, and I was ready to start recording. Now, granted, it is Friday night, so the kids get to stay up a little later on Friday night, considering that they do not have school tomorrow, so that probably factored in. But I was really hoping to capture a bit more of each level, like in the earlier videos where I had 3 videos for each level, but here I am doing like 2 videos per level, and those 2 videos, let's be honest, could have been 1 as far as the grinding actually goes. But, the other advantage is this. The less I record, the more vocal material I have. And as much as we might say we'd like to see the combat, I think, and I'm speaking from experience as a fellow EverQuest video enthusiast, we like the commentary maybe a little bit more than the video itself. So by waiting and building up more things to talk about, I think I'm really doing the videos a service, not a disservice. Now, if you look at the back of my head, you're going to see a different hat on my head, one that looks much better. They have been spoiling me. In this last grind session for 50 to 99%, I've gotten ringmail gloves. Oh, hold on a second. I've got full mana, and I don't have spirit armor. So let me throw on a spirit armor and then continue to blab on while I wait for that mana to regen. There we go. So, the XP has been great, and we don't seem to be getting ganked yet. Who knows what will happen as we progress. I'm pretty sure that the guy who's been ganking me is the same guy, even though I might have mentioned, I don't think I recorded it, but I mentioned that an enchanter came when I was grinding Legionnaires and Crushbone, killed me in the Flowers of Happiness guild. And then here, in Unrest, 2 times now, I've had 2 different characters. I think the enchanter was a higher level, and a second time was a ranger named Reddit user. I can't remember which one it was. Came to try to gank me. Both times I was able to escape by zoning into Dagnar's Cauldron and going to my quote-unquote hiding spot. Now, I'm telling you, and I'm telling the aforementioned party that I'm aware that he might be seeing these videos, so I may or may not go to the same spot to try to camp out next time I have to zone into Dagnar's Cauldron to escape some PvP. And, the funny thing is, when he was trying to gank me last time... Oh, let me just pause that train of thought for a second. We got a rare spawn here called the Lesser Blade Fiend. Now, this spawn is not undead. It is living, technically. However, if I hug the wall, I notice that I don't aggro it, because this is not my first time trying to avoid it. Now that I am level 20, I am really hitting this spawn, which is more often a Darkbone Skeleton, as well as this spawn here. before I head over and try to kill the patrol, etc., etc. Okay, so what was I saying before? Yes, the PvP guy who's trying to gank me all the time. So I noticed the same guild tags, which makes me think it's the same character, but it might not be. They might just be a guild of people who like to gank people. What I think happens is these guys on red, these red aficionados, let's say, in a positive sense. let's make it sound positive. They make characters. You see, the PvP range on red is 4 levels. So I'm suspecting that these guys make characters at 4 level intervals. They probably have multiple accounts with characters at every 4 level intervals you can imagine, or maybe just certain ones, like the early ones and the late ones. Who knows? But thereby, they're able to, they twink those characters, and then they become gank machines. They just surf the hot spots for their level ranges. They make sure that their character is slightly above the usual grinding level range for that area. And then they come and just check every once in a while, is anyone in the zone? And if someone is, they go and try to gank them. So I've got some guy, and I think it's the same guy, even though it's been 2 different characters, trying to gank me. The Enchanter was a bit weaker, so I think the Enchanter is the lower level character. And I think the other one is a Ranger, because he was snaring me and hitting me. And that sounds like a Ranger, am I right? Anyway, I mentioned to him last time he tried to gank me, like, dude, I don't have any plat, I just did a bank run. And he's like, it's the journey. And as much as, at the time, I was too perturbed. But you know what? He's right. It is the journey. Like, in a sense, it's fun. It's fun, the fact that I'm worried about this, more powerful entity coming to try to kill me. And I have to try to avoid the times that he might be roaming the world. And I might try to think of strategies to try to escape his wrath. It is a little bit fun. I hope this is not encouraging him too much if he's listening. But it is a bit fun. I do hope that... See, the next time he comes across, I'm actually thinking of saying to him, like, look, dude, give me a second. Give me a second to med up, and give me a second to mem the spells that I want to use in our duel. Just don't just jump me. Give me a second. Because when you die in PvP on red, you don't lose any experience. And I'm bound in Dagnar's Cauldron. So it's not really, if you really think about it, it's not that huge of an inconvenience for him to come and gank me. Now, the problem is, if he is repeatedly and constantly ganking me, if he's quote-unquote locking me down, and I can't honestly say that's this guy's intentions. He might just be of the mind that, like, I'm going to add a certain special element to the PvP red server in which you have to worry about people coming to gank you. But he might not necessarily be the kind of ganker that goes overboard. And it's like, now I'm going to camp your corpse. Now I'm going to figure out what times you usually play it. And I'm always going to be there to gank you. He might not be trying to overwhelm me. I have no evidence of that kind of behavior at this point. He might just be... Oh, by the way, ding, 21. Hooray. He might just be, enjoying that feeling of, like, kind of messing with you a little bit. But then again, not too much. I hate to use this analogy, especially in the 21st century when so many things are quote-unquote politically incorrect. But, there's a certain pleasure in being pushed out of your comfort zone. And I hate to say this, but I think of sex. For those of you who have a sexual experience, I think of sex as an example of this, because sometimes when you're pushed out of your comfort zone, or when you push someone else out of their comfort zone, they might be a little reticent, a little uncomfortable at first, and they might find a unique or greater pleasure in the experience they get. And I say that here on a YouTube channel video because I honestly believe in it. And I do believe I don't mean it to be an excuse for abuse or anything else, or rape or anything like that. But I do think that sometimes we need people to push us to do things that we might be afraid of doing, but we might enjoy. people who have good intentions and have our best interests at heart. I'm not saying that this PvP ganker has my best interests at heart. I think he's deriving a lot of pleasure himself out of ganking people. And he might just be your typical ganker who's like, I just want to freaking dominate you and frustrate you. That might be the case, and it might just be that I don't play often enough, or I play it off hours enough where he hasn't always been there. You know what I mean? Like, I have this image in my mind of a PvP red EverQuest ganker as being like someone who's like old enough or in some unique enough situation, collecting unemployment or whatnot, to zone in on people and just kind of like, you know, what time is he playing? I'm always gonna gank him and just grief him to the max. Like what if he has the time and the opportunity to do that, but he simply chooses not to because he's like, I'm not trying to grief you to the max. I'm just trying to play with you a little bit, right? And that's the unique aspect of the PvP servers. People can, quote unquote, play with you. Now, in normal EverQuest, people can play with you. And I'll be honest, I've been thinking about the next TLP besides Oakwind, because I'm kind of missing playing with people more. Like, I got really into solo last time I started Sendrith. I did a few groups, but I was like, wow, solo is a whole new realm with me. When I was playing back in, what was it, 2000 or 1999, I thought there was nothing but groups in EverQuest. Like, groups were it. And when I discovered, when I joined P99, that there was a solo dimension to this game, it blew my mind. It was wonderful. Oh my gosh, we might have to run. I think, in fact, not might. I'm canceling this nuke. We are rooting this here skeleton or lurking mummy, and we are zoning. He resisted, I think, 3 nukes, and here he comes. Root wore off already. He's got an unusually high magic resistance. He must be literally level 20. I think lurking mummies go up to level 20. Gosh, I hate it when the game interrupts my various trains of thought. But yeah, our HP is at 65 already. He was kicking our butt. And our mana's at 12. We got one more nuke in us. So this is not happening. Anyway. This is rare, just so you know. At level 21 especially. Even level 20, this is rare with lurking mummies and or dry bone skeletons. So those of you who are watching and you're not interested in my various ramblings and are more interested in just watching a cleric solo unrest, it's a rare enough occurrence where you don't have to worry about it. Just take it when it comes, be ready to run. Anyway, so this guy, you know, I think it's the same guy. It could be 2 separate people. Again, the first time it was an enchanter character, the second time it was a ranger character. So it definitely could be 2 separate people. In fact, the more I think about it, it's likely it was 2 separate people. It's likely. But part of me wants to say it's the same person with multiple characters. So anyway, he's griefing me and whatnot, etc., etc. But unlike most, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. To an extent, I can appreciate that. For example, when I was in college, I was the first of my friends to get their own apartment. My father helped me. He sent me to University of California at Irvine, and he got me an apartment, as much for himself as for me, because I think he liked the freedom of no longer having his child at home, right? And so there I am at the apartment, and all my friends are still staying with their parents. And one of them, a very close friend who I really wish would contact me again, who was the first person who introduced me to EverQuest, and who has since, to the best of my knowledge, disappeared to the streets. In the darkest way you can imagine, pretty much. But some might be out there still somewhere. This person was the instigator for a regular party session going on at my apartment. He had a group of friends, and he wanted a place to drink and to smoke. And if you're from Southern California, you know what I mean by smoke. And he hit me up, and He was really a good, sweet guy. He just had a party bone. You know, some people have a funny bone, some people have a party bone. So he had a party bone, and I honestly, and I didn't like drinking, and I still pretty much don't. Although I like it a lot more now that I'm a bit older than I did then. Like, for example, I've had a bit of whiskey tonight. Oh, I hate to go from one train to another train to another train. I don't really hate it. I'm just saying that out of courtesy. But today was my last day of work for the summer because I'm a teacher. But I teach at a private school. So most of the public schools finished about a month ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But today was my last day. So in celebration of that, I've had probably the equivalent of 4 or 5 shots of whiskey over the course of about 2 hours. So don't think I'm binging it. And I finished my bottle of whiskey that I've had for a few weeks in the cabinet. So that might explain some of the way my words sound and my rambling a little bit. Anyway, so this friend of mine, he's the one who got me into EverQuest, man. Oh, I really thought I had mastered keeping a train of thought even when going on a tangent, but I've lost it. But you know what? I've learned to let go of losing your train of thought, so I'm going to let that go. If it comes back, I will resume that train of thought. Maybe I forgot it or I lost it because it was no longer potent. We're going to head back into Unrest. We are level 21 now. We are encumbered. We have a ringmail headpiece. What's it called? A coif? I'm not sure quite how to pronounce that word, but as an English teacher, I should be, right? Look, there's the lurking mummy that was giving me trouble. I'm not trying you again, dude. Feel free to walk back unmolested. I've only got, 82% mana, and I don't want to get into it with you again unless I've got full mana. So this is unfortunate. We've got the Lesser Blade Fiend on one spawn. That registers as a living mob. So we've got to use living nukes on it. It registers as level 19, which is just a little bit too close to 20 or 21 for me to feel comfortable trying to take it out. So I'm trying to avoid it now. And then now in another one of our spawns, we've got the Lurking Mummy that seems to be kicking our ass. Now, it might have just been RNG. Maybe we just got unlucky, and we'll try again, and we will try again. We will. But should we fail twice, we've got to assume that it's too high a level, or for some reason it's more difficult than his counterparts. Is it my agility? No, my agility's at 83. It hasn't dropped below 75 yet, so it's not my agility that's the problem, because I'm encumbered. It must just be that particular lurking mummy is either we had really bad RNG, which is possible, or he is like a level 20, which I believe is also possible, unless perhaps lurking mummy's maximum level is 19. Why don't I check? Let's see what the wiki has to say. Not that the wiki is guaranteed to be correct. Oh no, far from it. I've seen myself errors with the wiki. I have not taken the initiative to fix them. Because I know a wiki, by definition, is something that anybody can contribute to. I do not feel confident enough to try to fix them. But look at this. Look at what the wiki is saying. This is obviously not true. Levels 11 through 12. 11 through 12. It doesn't even have Unrest listed as a zone. So obviously this page needs an update. Let's see. Let's throw Unrest in there and see what we get. Let's go to the Estate of Unrest. You can't see. I'm sorry. I just realized you can't see my browser. So I will have to narrate as if you're not seeing. I've been narrating as if you can see. Okay, let's see. Lesser Mummy. A Lesser Mummy. I'm on the wiki page for Unrest. A Lurking Mummy. That was my problem. Levels 18 to 20. So I'm pretty sure that particular Lurking Mummy that we try to take out is a level 20. That makes the most sense, because how else could he have resisted our attempts to kill him? Now, We've got absolutely full mana at this point, so let's see if we can do it now. Doesn't that headpiece look so much better? Look, I'm encumbered and I have no armor on me. I've got coin and I've got pages. And still, I'm encumbered right now. And this ring, this coif that I'm wearing on my head, you know, it's really not viable. It's got an AC of 7 and a weight of 6, whereas the cap I was wearing before has an AC of 3 and a weight of 0.5. So I'm carrying an extra 5.5 pounds of weight for only 4 more AC, and it's just, when your strength is this low, it's totally not worth it. However, this particular piece of armor that goes on the head is the most important because I care about how I look, and I like the look of this ringmail armor on my head so much more than the leather armor. You know what I mean? And that's the reason I decided to put it on, and I'm probably going to keep it even though with just a couple of pages and barely any coins, I'm already like just 3 pounds below my maximum weight. I'm still thinking of keeping it, and I'm just hoping that the extra 3 strength that I get from the bloodstained mantle in the fireplace camp makes all the difference. Now, as you can see, we're doing much better against this lurking mummy now, which is good. So I guess perhaps it was just RNG, and you got to be, you know, that can happen. So you got to be ready for that. You got to be ready for the RNG to betray you. Oh, literally, I just made a run to the merchant. And pretty soon now my encumbrance is going to be so large that my agility drops below 75. And at that point, I need to make a merchant run. Because the drop from 75 to 74%, it takes so much more damage in combat. Now, on the positive side, we've got, let me scroll up here. We got dodge at 72. That's decently high. It's not quite max yet, but it's getting there. One hand blunt has gotten up to 86, which is nice. Let's take a look at our skills. Let's see. What is our max? Is it at 100? Is it 108? What is our max for melee skills? Right? Because I think that's different from our casting skills as a cleric. I think our casting skills can go higher per level than the melee skills. I want to say I know we're at least at 90 as a max. Because look, one hand blunt's at 86. Let's look at our casting skills. Conjuration, 74. Really? Okay. Channeling, 108. Right? I really think our melee skills can go up to 100 or 105. Because I think our channeling can go up to 110. Because I know our channeling is always max. Any casting we do is considered channeling. So that's always been right up at the line. So if channeling is at 108, that means its max is 110. And I really don't see our melee skills being any more than 10% less than that. Gosh, I'm saying such confusing phrases because there's contradictory terms like more or less in the same sentence, but I think if you listen to what I said, you'll understand. I don't think our melee skills can be any more than 10 points less than our maximum level for channeling, aka spellcasting skills. So I really think One Hand Blunt, even though it's gotten up there pretty nicely to 86, it really could be up to 100 at this moment. Would that make a huge difference? Not so much, but let's scroll up on my left chat window here. There's our experience gang right there as we killed the lurking mummy. Let's see how many points of damage we got just from our melee. We got 12 there, 2, 14, 7, 21, 12, 33, 8, 41. Okay, we got 41 points of damage just from melee. And we weren't timing things particularly well. Like, if you really want to capitalize on your melee, you want to watch the combat action. You want to see when your character swings, and then start to cast your nuke. We weren't doing that. We were chain casting nukes. That means we were getting one swing, not one hit, one swing between nukes. And the monsters take 4 or 5 nukes. Maybe 6. So let's just round up to 6. Just to be on the conservative side, right? That means we only got 6 or 7 swings of melee. And we did 40 something points of damage, which is half a nuke of damage. Imagine if we had waited till after a swing each time we casted a nuke. We would have doubled that number. We would have gone from 4 to 6 swings to 8 to 10 swings, 8 to 11 swings. And imagine if we, beyond that, just wanted to rely on melee a little bit more. We had the HP for it. So that's why I'm excited about our one-hand blunt being what it is. Because it really helps, even though in the end it only ends up being, let's say, 10% of the mob's health. When your mana pool is as low as mine, it's not that high. That extra 10% of their health being chopped off by your melee makes a huge difference between what you can and what you can't kill at each level. I love it. But again, soon it's going to be inviable. Ooh, a rawhide tunic that weighs 5.3, but I know it sells for a decent chunk of money. Ooh, looting it takes us down to AGI 79. 79 AGI. But we're going to take it anyway, because I know that chess pieces, for some reason, their value seems to be pretty good. So we're going to give it a shot on that chess piece. And we will run to the merchant. Our last run through Dagnar's Cauldron was safe and successful. And I'm pretty confident now in my own ability to keep an eye out for mobs as I run through Dagnar's Cauldron. I've done it so many times. The first time I played Cleric, back in 2000, I never went to Unrest. I had never even considered it. And I have a vague memory that could be a false memory of considering it, going to Dagnar's Cauldron, and being scared away by the rampant mobs. When I played back in 2000, what was I? Let's think. 2000 was 23 years ago. I am 36. So I was 13 years old. So you can imagine how much different this game hits you when you're 13 years old. And if you wandered into a zone like Dagnar's Cauldron, there's every chance you would have wandered right back out, because it's an intimidating zone. You've got skeletons and you've got goblins going from blue to red to green, wandering around seemingly randomly. It's a scary place. I have no memory of even trying to cross Dagnar's Cauldron. The thing is, I had a friend, and he recommended, the friend I mentioned earlier who disappeared into the darkness, he recommended Oasis. So around the time after I finished Orc Hill, back when in the 2000s, there were actually groups in all the zones. I finished Orc Hill, I did a little bit of Crushbone, and then I believe I went straight from there to Oasis. And where did I go from Oasis? It was not Unrest. I'm trying to think what it was. Gosh, I can't remember right now. Where did I go from Oasis? Back in 2000, what were the leveling spots after Oasis? Was it Upper Guk? I don't think I did Upper Guk. I have no memory of doing Upper Guk. I do of Lower Guk, but not of Upper Guk. And I'm trying to think, where did I go to group after Oasis? Let's see, if I was 20-ish, if I was level 20-ish, where would I go? What are the options when you're level 20, 21, 22, let's say? I didn't go to Kesora. I honestly can't remember. But I know that I never went to Unrest before I played for the first time a TLP server. It was on my first run through a TLP server, which was a couple years before Yellowneck, that I finally went to Oasis for the first time. I mean, not Oasis, excuse me, Unrest. And that was a while ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And once I got the hang of it, I was like, this is awesome. Especially for a cleric, especially when you got a solo. It really bugs me that I can't remember where I went after Unrest. Basically, the next memory I have as a cleric is Velkator's Labyrinth. You know, it's been that long where I've forgotten everything else. Unfortunately. But anyway, as you can see, we're grinding it out pretty successfully here. The problem with this particular level range now at 21 is that even at 20, I'd say about 50% of the ghouls are green, not blue, to us. So I'm assuming, I haven't even checked, if you've been watching, I haven't been conning the ghouls. That was the first ghoul I've encountered since dinging. But I haven't been conning. I don't know what level I'm dealing with now at level 21 when it comes to the ghouls. That guy seemed pretty easy. I'm pretty sure he would have conned green had I conned him. We're 15% in. So since I started this video, I've gotten 16% experience, according to the XP bar. No gankage yet. So I've got more big news. Besides the fact that I just finished my last day of work as a teacher until I think it's like August 27th. So I've got a nice big fat break, which is really the best thing about being a teacher. That you get this big fat break. It's really nice. I keep imagining other jobs where you just work year round with maybe a week off each year. I could do it, to be honest, because when I get used to something, I'm just used to it. I'm a very tolerant person, and I find ways to enjoy myself, whether I'm quote-unquote working or quote-unquote playing. Philosophically, I'm very contemplative, and my life is very philosophically driven. So from that perspective, there isn't as much of a difference between work and play as one might think. I do honestly believe. However, having said all of that, it's still pretty nice to have an extra 4 or 5 weeks a year off of work compared to other jobs. I do still plan to attend online law school and eventually return to the U.S. age, I don't know, 42, and try to start a career as a lawyer. But for now, I'm teaching English. I've got a nice break. And here is the big news. Just last night, my wife initiated the process, put down the payment on an apartment, initiating escrow. I am buying my first piece of property. Kind of exciting. We're buying an apartment in Wuhan, China. And yes, it is the Wuhan. The one you're thinking of if you followed any of the early news about COVID. It's the same Wuhan. And I didn't choose to come here because of COVID. I simply was looking for a new job, and the best offer that I felt most attracted to happened to be in Wuhan. And that's why I'm here. The housing market has been dropping for a couple of years. Some people think it's going to continue to drop. Some people aren't sure. However, near my apartment, They are constructing an entrance to the subway. I'm kind of in the suburbs, but they're going to open up a subway stop within walking distance of the apartment that we're buying. So, from prior experience, I can tell you that there's a good chance that the fact that a subway stop opens near the apartment will drive its value up a bit. And, prior to this dip that they've had recently, the Chinese housing market was on the climb. It was just going up and up and up and up. And I was telling my wife, who wanted to buy much earlier than now, nothing, that which goes up must come down, right? It's not smart to buy a house at the top of the housing market. You want to try to buy it at the bottom because things are going up and down, and you get the best return when you buy them on the downswing. And but we've had a few years of a downswing since I've said that. I said that back when the market was just steadily climbing, and it climbs more steadily than it does in America because there's government regulations trying to keep it climbing, right? Because that somehow equates to affluence. I don't even want to know how, because I don't care enough. It equates to the affluence of the country when the housing value is continuously increasing. But there's only so much a government can do when people only have X amount of money, unless they're willing to force them to buy a house, which this government hasn't taken a step like that, to my knowledge. So, the market started to collapse, and it went down for about a year and a half. We know the subway is going to be finished in about a year to 2 or 3 years. So my wife really wanted to buy, and I thought we would buy a year from now. But once she got the idea in her head, she started looking at apartments, and next thing you know, here we are. Found a quote-unquote good deal, and the apartment's going to cost 1,600,000 Chinese. Now, Chinese currency is about... Oh, we just got some more ring mail. Let's see. What's the difference? These ring mail arms do 6 AC, and these leather arms do 3. 1.1 weight to 3.5 weight. That's an acceptable exchange rate. Where does that put our agility? 76. We are very close to having to make a run to the merchant. Anyway, 1.6 million Chinese with an exchange rate of 6.7 last I checked. I like to just round up to 7. The wise thing to do when you're calculating your costs is to round down, to round against yourself, so that the error involved means you have more money than you thought instead of less. So let's just say 6.5, right? So how many times does 6.5 go into 1.6? Or 16, let's say. 2 takes us to 13. Let's just say 2.5, right? What's 16 million, or 1,600,000 divided by 2.5? I believe it's about 250? No, that can't be right. What is 1.6 million? No, it's 1.6 million divided by 7. Yeah, it is about 2.5. And that's rounding against myself, because 2.5 really would be more than 1.6 million. So let's say $250,000 is what I just committed to. Now each month, I make, rounding slightly down, not so much, but slightly, 35,000 Chinese. Divide that by 7. We're talking $6,000. I've managed to push my income up to. I've got a full-time job, plus I'm teaching 3 or 4 classes after school twice a week, which really means 6 to 8 classes a week extra on the side, more money per hour for those classes. So that's how I've gotten my salary up that high. And let's round down to 30,000, which would be, let's say, 5,000. $5,000 a month. My rent is 3,000 Chinese. Divide by 7. Just say 500, 600, 600. And we have a bunch of living expenses, which take us up to about, including the rent, about 15,000 Chinese a month. If we can just save the same amount, 15 a month, we're looking at 180 a year. And I really think we can pull off 200 a year. So if I can save 200 a year, save, quote unquote, means pay off the mortgage, 200 a year. Let's say 6 years, 6 to 8 years, I will completely own this apartment here in Wuhan, China. I'm really hoping the value doesn't drop, and it picks up. Of course, I don't know. Again, the fact that a subway entrance is opening near this apartment bodes well. The fact that the market is dropping for 2 years and people seem to think it will continue to drop does not bode well. Hopefully those two things average out. After I finish paying off this apartment, I can start to save for a move back to the United States of America, which I am semi-eager for, getting less and less eager for as I live life and I realize that, you live in a box somewhere and you go to work somewhere and there are people who speak whatever language who are your quote-unquote friends. It's all starting to look more and more the same to me. First, it was all the Chinese cities looked the same to me. And then once I went back to the US last year, I was like, it's all the same to me. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So my drive to get back has dropped significantly, but I still want to get back because I have people who I really have a lot of affection and desire to be around back in America. I haven't been keeping a very astute track of the spawns, but I know I killed the patrol after I killed this guy, and this guy's still down. So that means the patrol's still down. Where's our next single spawn here? We're gonna wrap this video up pretty soon. It's getting a bit long. It might be in that room, which would be perfect, because that's a really safe solo pull spawn. But no, he's down 2. So it might be in this cubby here, but didn't we just kill that? So wow, we are holding down 1, plus the patrol 2, plus that room 3, plus this cubby 4. If we are holding down, I would say now we are capable of 4.5 to 5 spawns. Now here we got 2 ghouls. Whew, this is interesting. Okay, now if we want to add a 6th spawn, the smart thing to do would just be to wait. But what we're going to do for fun is we're going to calm one of these ghouls. Okay? And we're going to try to make sure we know which one it is. Okay, we're going to calm the more distant one. Remember, you can cast calm through the wall. I don't know if I was clear about that. So he's calm. And we're going to pull his friend here over to this cubby. There we go. So now as we're getting higher, we're able to break some of these rooms. And he's a blue, which is nice. Let's see what we go from 20. We'll probably go to 23, maybe 24. Upon the death of this here ghoul. Come on, melee. Nukes are taking about 23%. He's down to 1%. We're going to let the nuke finish it off here. He rooted us. We're going to let the melee finish it off. There we go. Yep, 23%, as predicted. Alright. I have been blabbing on and on and on. I have not even paused this video. That's how much I've been blabbing. 45 minutes of constant talking. I hope it's enjoyable. I think it is. Again, just judging from my own experience as a listener and watcher myself. I think it's better when the recorder has something to say and shares it, however much it might relate or not relate to your own life. We're most of us EQ players, we're 35, 40, maybe 45 years old. We've lived enough life where there's not much we can't relate to at all, you know. And there's something special about relating to someone else who's playing EQ. There's like a unique dimension there. And I've talked about buying a house, I've talked about work, vacation time. These are pretty universal life goals, I want to say. So I'm I'm expecting that it was enjoyable to hear. I know I would like to hear in my shoes right now. I'd like to hear about somebody who talking about their full-time work schedule a little bit, talking about buying a house and a little bit. It is a very daunting thing because I do desire. I recently reattended undergraduate school at the University of Illinois, Springfield, and finished a degree in philosophy because I have a deep interest in philosophy and also because it's a very good major as a springboard to law school. And I come from a family of lawyers. My father was a lawyer, my mother was a lawyer, my uncle, three of my uncles were lawyers, and my grandfather was a lawyer. So I come from like a line of lawyers. And aside from that, I just feel like a real attraction. Like I would really enjoy um, planning a planning a case to present and arguing it in a courtroom. I think that would be a really fun job compared to a lot of the other things I could do. So I do have that kind of dream in the back of my mind. The thing that holds me back is I think I'm too old. I'm already 36 and I haven't started to attend law school yet. Law school part-time online, we're looking at 3, 4, 5 years, and then I get to try to take the bar and pass the bar. That's like what, another year? So let's say maximum 6 years. I could be 42, 43 years old before I even try to start a career as a lawyer. But then I realized, lawyering is one of the few professions where you could continue to work even when you're pretty old. And 65 is not even that old, right? That's like a regular retirement age. And you could easily work till 70, 75 as a lawyer. And even if I just work till 65, that's 22 years from 43, 44. And that's a long time. So I can still do it. I can still make that career happen, and I intend to. The thing is, right now, working full time, 40 hours a week, plus the 10 to 15 hours extra a week I have with my classes, I just don't feel up to trying to take on law school, especially since I just finished my undergrad, which is 2.5 years. I feel like I need a break. You know what I mean? Wait, what's going on here? Is there another single room right here? Literally right next to. No, it's because I just killed that. Oh, yeah, okay, I just killed his buddy. And he's green. Well, because he's green, I'm going to skip this guy and see what else we got available. We got a Darkbone Skeleton here. I like that. Let's do that. So anyway, yeah, I've been questioning my goal of attending law school and trying to become a lawyer in the U.S., but I still want to do it. Buying a house kind of puts it a bit further back even than just the online law school did. Online law school, we're talking 3, 4, maybe 5 years. Paying off a mortgage on an apartment here in China, we're talking 5, 6, 7 years. And that's committing all my extra cash the entire time to paying it down. So it is a bit intimidating, but I think overall it's good. And it'll be a good thing. I really was hoping to finish with family life a little bit earlier, but you gotta do what you gotta do. See, now we're at 75 exactly. And if I ring the small... But I really should loot the small ringmail neck guard. The thing is, the price, the value you get from selling armor, it doesn't vary that much from different pieces in comparison to the weight of those pieces. So for example, this ringmail coat weighs 10 pounds, right? And this small ringmail neck guard weighs 2 pounds. That's a 5 times difference in weight. However, I don't think there's going to be a 5 times difference in the value of vendoring the item. I think the small ringmail cape, 3, 4, maybe 5 plat, and the ringmail neck piece, 2, maybe 3 plat. So if you are going to collect ringmail and run it to the vendor, you should collect the lighter pieces to get maximum value per pound. So the ringmail neck piece is one of the best that you can possibly get. Ringmail coif, not so much. We're looking at 6 pounds. Ringmail chest piece, even though you might be a little bit illusioned, but when you see the sale price, it's probably like the best value single piece price compared to all the ringmail. So you might be like, ooh, this is the most valuable piece, but when it weighs 10 pounds, you gotta remember, one of these is worth, let's see, 5 small ringmail neck guards. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure 5 small ringmail neck guards are more valuable than a single ringmail coat. You know what I mean? So you want to pick up those lighter pieces. The ringmail neck, the neck guards, the face guards, maybe the wrist guards. Those are probably going to actually be the best bang for your buck in terms of your weight of all the things you loot. Now that we've gotten our gear, and let's see how long this video is. It's already 51 minutes. We leveled into 21, which is nice. Let's gate. I already did gate, but I didn't announce it. Let's gate to Dagner's Cauldron, and let's make the run. Let's throw on an invisibility versus undead. And yeah, you might look at my mana, my HP, and be like, shouldn't you med up first? But you know, I'm confident enough in my ability to navigate this path without danger that I would rather have, you know, a little bit less HP and a little bit less mana so that it regens while I'm running. That's how much I'm thinking about min-maxing in this game. So here we are doing this run again. I've probably done it before, but I'm just going to throw it on the video because, you know what? It's fun. It might be even more fun than the fights. I think it is. Because there's more of an unknown element to it. Yeah, on the fights against the Darkbone Skeleton, maybe he resists 3 nukes in a row, like that one lurking mummy, and then I gotta run for the border. But that wasn't so exciting. I find this to be even more exciting. Like, who knows? There's a level 24 mob that patrols around here that could jump me at any time if I'm not carefully keeping an eye out. Like, is that not exciting? I think it is. Look, what's that? Undertow Skeleton. I'm invis versus undead, so I don't have to worry about that. And, did I go too far? I'm slightly drunk, and I don't have as much of a sense of how far I've gone as I probably should. But, oh, there's the trees. There's the 2 trees. As I said in a previous video, those are the markers for you. Those 2 trees on the hilltop. Those let you know you're approaching the canyon entrance. Now, at this point, you pretty much made it. Like, even if you aggro some guys, 1, you got the Fantastic 4 here. You can bring any mob to them, they will kill it for you. They just finished killing something. 2, you could probably pull off a route on almost any mob except for the Goblin Title Lord and finish the run out of combat range through the canyon. So once you get to this point, you're safe. So I think some people are still scared of Unrest. I remember, was it on P99 or was it on the TLP, inviting someone to Unrest, and they made the journey to Dagner's Cauldron, and then they turned around because they were just too scared. And I could totally relate. But it's not as hard as you think it is. Let's take a look at the OOC chat while we're running through the canyon here, because these guys are just going off. Good, then don't complain about Twinks killing you. Okay, here. We don't need your economy, exactly. Peppergy and her 3 amigos confirmed. Do not PvP, even versus 1 person. Good. Then don't complain about Twinks killing you. Nature's Defender, was it? Just notice it is all not really complaining. Just notice it is all not really complaining. Sounds like you died to PvE and need to remove yourself. Well, takes a lot of dedication to de-level after all that just to sit in lower Guck. Pepper Jill thought the paladin was rocking a nature's defender? Who de-leveled, lol? You guys like saying my name a lot. I guess that's okay. You do know the defender is a two-hander, and the paladin was clearly holding a shield. I was wrong then. It was a really fancy one-hand that looked similar. What the fuck are we even talking about right now? Sorry, excuse my language. Haven't raided much. Sorry, not a raid pixel. It's called Cleric Bane, and it makes you run into 20 froglocks. Pretty sweet proc. Almost like fear, but better. It's pretty good proc. Now, the cleric word really caught my attention there, and I wanted to read that. And it turned out it was the least relevant possible use of the word cleric. Right? Apparently there's a sword that makes you run into froglocks, but it's not fear. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. It sounds like it has to be fear. What else would make you just run into mobs besides fear? I don't know. Anyway, guys, I feel like this is a good place to call the video. We're getting close to about an hour. I've been rambling on. I've said all that I need to say as far as I know, unless I've forgotten something. Here we are zoning into Butcherblock Mountains. We finished the Dagner's Cauldron run again, uneventfully, because I'm a freaking master at it. Yeah. And what else is there to watch? Me run to Kaladin, me sell some stuff to a vendor, you know, without commentary to complement it. It's gonna be pretty boring to watch. Oh look, the zone worked. Well, that reminds me of another piece of commentary. Someone recommended to me that when you're zoning, do not alt-tab out. And I think I just really took that to heart recently, because I alt-tabbed out and I alt-tabbed back in only to see the loading bar actually appear and fill up, and then nothing to happen. And I was wondering, maybe it's because I alt-tabbed out. Like, maybe my character finally loaded in, but because I alt-tabbed out, I was not, you know, in sync with it. So my character was sitting there in the next zone, and I couldn't connect to that character, and so therefore I had to Control Delete shut down, wait for the character to be removed, and join again. So I'm really trying to develop my patience and to not give up on the zones as fast as I might otherwise. Wait, see if the loading bar comes up. The loading bar comes up and it fills up. Wait even longer. See if I finally zone in. Because I really do think that perhaps alt-tabbing out causes you to sort of desync. Like, your character is still working. As far as the game is concerned, everything's going fine. But because you alt-tabbed out, somehow you're desynced from the character on the client side. I really feel like that's the case. So, yeah, after we make this run to Kaladin, should I even... Look, I've got no money. Maybe I should turn this into a Druid Ring run and just sell what I got and head back to Unrest. I don't need to go all the way to Kaladin necessarily. Let's see how much plat I've got. 150 silver equates to 15 gold, which equates to a little bit more than 50 gold, which equates to 5 platinum. Do I want to run back to the Kaladin for 5 platinum? Now, I still need to sell some gear. Let's say 10 platinum. Being generous. Do I want to run back to the Kaladin just to bank 10 platinum when perhaps at the Druid here, which I think I'm on the way to, I can convert all my coin to that 10 platinum and have extra weight and gate back? That's what I'm going to do. We're heading to the Druid Rings. We're going to sell everything we can sell, and then we're going to convert our coin to platinum. by buying something that has a comparable buy and sell rate. Like you sell it for 2 plat, you get back 1.8 plat when you buy it for 2.2 plat. Let's say that, where the loss between selling and buying is not significant enough. Alright, 1 gold for our tattered cap hat, 1 platinum, 2 gold for our rawhide tunic, 8 gold, 7 silver for rawhide gloves, and 1 gold, 4 silver for small patchwork sleeves. I'm thinking of keeping the words. I think they're lighter than the coin they would give. Am I wrong? I don't think so. Bronze scythe, perfect. Now I know scythes, scythes are one of those things that you can buy and sell. Now this is 13 plat. If I buy a scythe, I don't even have enough to buy that scythe. Let's try a bronze. Bronze is 3 plat, 8 gold. There we go. And we sell it for 3 plat, 5 gold. So we're losing 3 gold by using a bronze scythe to convert our lower coin into platinum. Now let's see. 12 silver is going to bring us up to 34 silver. And we need 38, so it really isn't so viable. Let's sell a couple more pages. There we go. Now it's viable to buy and sell another bronze scythe. There we go. And we got 7 plat now. We're still overweight? Are you kidding me? What did we... Oh. Wow, we sold that ring mail. Look at this. Like, this is how heavy our armor is. Like, we got 16 copper, 21 silver, 11 gold, and 8 platinum. In our bags, we got a couple of pages and a couple of bone chips. And that is literally it. And we are encumbered right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What are these netted pants? Look at this. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy these netted pants. The rawhide leggings we're wearing, they have a weight of 6 and an AC of 5. The netted pants have an AC of 3 and a weight of 0.4. You see what I'm saying? You gotta get creative sometimes. Now we look ugly as ever. We only lost 2 or 3 AC. And we picked up a bunch of weight reduction. Let's see what else she's got. Dark mousseline collar. 5 AC, weight of 0.2. Whereas this is 5 AC and a weight of 2.0. Heck yeah. We are totally buying that. Wow. I didn't realize you could economize this way. Oh, but I didn't notice that I am unable to wear that. High elves can wear it, but clerics cannot. Why would there be such class restrictions on a piece of gear that doesn't even do any stats? Oh, that's killer. That is killer. Oh, that's heartbreaking. We've got no neck piece now. Literally no neck piece. Unless we buy a small bronze collar for 5 platinum. 3.7 AC 6. We're doing it. We did it. We did it. Now we've got some bronze armor on us. AC is up to 443. Weight is up to 61. Those pants made a difference, but man, do we look ugly. We got a yellow skirt on now. Look at us, dude. Gosh, I almost wish I kept those pants just so I didn't look like this ugly with this freaking yellow skirt with the little black shorts underneath. Unbelievable, dude. And I wish I kept the cap, because this ringmail coif is not worth it either. I only picked up 4 AC for like 5.5 pounds extra. Okay, well what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to mainly focus on looting just words. Looting just words. We're not replacing any more ringmail. In fact, we got almost all the ringmail you could hope for. The only things we still have left that are not ringmail are the pants, the belt, the shoulders, and the wrist. Look at that. AC2, weight 0.8. AC5, 2.7. Like, when you upgrade to ringmail, it's just such a heavy cost and weight. It's ridiculous. I'm so glad we have a Sebolite scale mask. It only weighs 0.8. Alright, well, that was interesting. I hope for everybody as much as it was for me. This is one of my longest videos so far in the series. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. We are now level 21. We didn't get ganked, we had no trouble. Unfortunately, we got ugly lower half of our body now, but we got an upgrade, 2 upgrades. We've got a ringmail coif, and we've got ringmail gloves, both of which happened off camera. I apologize for that, but my house is really loud until everyone goes to bed at like 10:30 or 11, so it was either not play or play off camera, and I made the latter choice. But anyway, guys, I will see you next time. You have a good one. We just ran out of food and drink too. Perfect timing.